a disk image backup of that machine that you can virtual boot in the cloud, something like that to immediately get you back up and running.
So let's talk about that. Datto is the company that always kind of comes to mind, no offense, when I think of I've got a server and I need to have a backup of it, and I need to be able to spin up a virtual version of that server, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud.
I think there's a lot of products that can do it, Comet included.
Comet does that.
We do support disk image backup, yep, and you can take a disk image backup and boot it up anywhere you like.
But here's the difference. With Datto, and even with some of these other solutions out there, they're starting to get more and more in the weeds with this. Datto will, like, I don't know, every day or every hour or however often you tell it to do it, it's going to spin up a VM automatically and take a screenshot of like the Windows login screen so you can see and prove that your backups boot. And then if something goes wrong, you hit a button, one button, I think, and it spins up that VM, that server or desktop is up and running. And then you just need to configure some networking things and then it's live. Is Comet that easy?
It might be about 3 clicks in Comet rather than one, but it's definitely the kind of direction we're taking the product. So we launched our disk image backup support probably 2-3 years ago now. And so Comet is a very broad spectrum backup product. So as well as doing disk image backups for whole server environments that you can either boot in the cloud or boot in a local virtual machine or do a physical re-image, we also support, file and folder backup and SQL Server backup and Exchange Server backup and Office 365 backup and all of these different types of things, disk image, as well as all of these other types, all integrated in the same user interface and the same components. You've got the same sort of MSP top level visibility, no matter what kind of backup the customer really needs. So you get to see all of these server disk image backups in the same place as the customer's small file.
Okay. So 3 buttons and I can spin up a VM of a Comet backup.
Yeah, 3 buttons.
Ish.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure I still have to go in and do the networking just like, all the other ones, right? So I'm not saying that 3 buttons and it's perfect and it's done and whatever. I'm just saying there's a way through the Comet Backup software to spin up a VM.
Yeah, sure.
And is that local or in the cloud?
You get the VHD and then it's 2 clicks in Hyper-V to import that into a virtual machine. Or you can send that to Azure, Google Cloud, or AWS, or any other cloud provider that supports the MDK import.
Now, when you say send that to, are you saying, so I can use Comet to do local backups? That's just built in, right?
Yeah, of course. So this is we're talking about something quite specific here, which is when you've done a backup job of a disk image and you want to restore that disk image and get it virtual booting somewhere. So that's definitely possible. But talking about where that disk image actually gets stored, Comet supports a pretty dizzying array of different storage locations. Your backup data can be stored on a local drive, sure, or it could be stored in the cloud already.
Right. So, and I just wanted to make sure that I was clear, like I can store it locally and then I can just boop. Now it's running on a Hyper-V server or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I can store it in the cloud and, there's the super cost-effective locations like Wasabi and some other ones that I never remember. Backblaze. Yeah, I was going to say Backblaze B2. And then but there's a whole host of them, right? And AWS compatible type storage. What is it? S3 compatible?
Compatible, yeah. Yeah, there's lots of them. You definitely get the main ones at $5 per terabyte per month. Is sort of the price point.
That is astronomical, by the way. I'm kidding. So with that kind of storage, that won't boot to like AWS, Azure, or Google. We would need to send the disk image backup to AWS, some type of drive or something in Microsoft or in Google.
Yeah, of course. Wasabi and Backblaze only provide storage. They don't provide anything else. So that you're going to transfer things in and then transfer them out again. And not only that, Comet is obviously, when Comet does your disk image backup, it's storing it compressed, it's storing it encrypted, it's storing it chunked and deduplicated. And so that is not It's a highly efficient, highly secure storage format that's optimized for, every different, if you're doing daily disk image backups, for instance, optimizing, storing those changes, but it's obviously not ready to go and ready to boot in a hypervisor until you reconstitute it back into a full-sized VHDX or VMDK. And so there's still that restore process when it comes from Wasabi back to your hypervisor's disk.
So if I had to guess, I could easily say there are more than a dozen backup providers that specifically work with MSPs. Easily. I'm trying to figure out how to word this without throwing any of them under the bus. What is the price for your product? Your product is software. Your product is not the cloud, the storage. It is literally software. So what do you charge for your software?
We charge $2 per endpoint device. We don't charge anything for the server.
And when you say the server, you mean like my server that I need to set up to operate all these agents that are getting deployed?
Yeah, that is what I mean. So Comet is a client server backup solution. As the MSP, you operate your own backup server, and then you deploy the agent to all of your customers' endpoints.